Hey, Thrand here, and I'm here with a very unusual video. I'm standing here wearing modern body armor, ballistic armor, and this was armor also sent to me by Andreas Knoll, which is not ballistic armor because it does not have the ballistic lining. It's just the aluminum outer shell, so it's very much like plate. It's a Duracraft aluminum. I have the legs over here to it, and I'm standing right next to the Iron Mountain Armory Niamato armor for the Jingaku period, and it is ancient armor. I mean, I shouldn't say exactly ancient, but it's very, very old, the idea of it, and the way it's designed. Well, what this video is to do is compare modern armors and what areas they cover and how they protect you to armors like this and other ancient armors. First of all, if we were going to do a comparisons, this is plate. The dough is actually plate. It's done in a method where it has overlapping plates that are put together. So there's certain areas that are doubled over, double layers, and then thinner layers in between where it's not doubled over. But it forms a protective shell. That's very much like this. Like I said, this is to stop impact damage, and it's cut resistant, thrust resistant is what they consider it, and or thrust proof, cut proof, and it should be resistant to any type of impact because it's plate. Everybody knows this. Plate has those qualities. So this here would give you those attributes, but without the ballistic lining, you could shoot through it. But this vest I'm wearing, this is a level 3A extreme armor vest. That means it's to the highest level handgun. 44 Magnum should not go through this. It is double layered, pretty much like when you use mail back in the day and you have an extra piece over the chest, like in the Norman era or something, or the Romans have extra pieces over the shoulder, help give more shoulder protection. There's double layers in here. Now, what Kevlar fiber is, if somebody's not familiar, it was developed by DuPont, and the fiber is stronger than steel. I mean, it's way stronger than steel. So it's better than using nylons. They experiment with nylon materials and everything else to do this. But I just wanted to show you have a layer inside here. This can be removed. And that's them. They're actually multiple layers of cloth, just like gambeson. We've tested lots of gambesons on our channel, and you can tell the thickness of this here, and it's very much stronger than actual cloth armor or any type of linens. Yes, this would be very resistant to cuts if you were just cutting with a knife, but if you tried to thrust through it with an extreme amount of force, like you've seen in some of our videos, I believe I did like 36 layers of extremely tightly woven cloth with a proper grip, like a rondel grip or something, and then coming in full force with your body weight behind it, yes, you could probably make it through this. This would not be considered thrust resistant. Be slightly cut resistant. It might be considered thrust resistant, but not thrust proof or cut proof. That would be the way to put it. You'd have to have another layer to do that. Oh, I didn't show the other part I wanted to say. We have multiple layers in here. If you look, you have an extra layer over the actual chest that can come out, and that's to give more padding and more layers that it has to go through over the chest, because the chest is actually bone. You have no padding. It's not like shooting the human body where the body can give and you have a little bit of meat on you and it flexes. The chest is solid and hard, so if a bullet were to hit that without the extra layer, it could actually break more bone and so on. So it's supposed to be ballistic proof up to that point. Doesn't mean you wouldn't get injured. Ancient armor is very similar in the same way. We do have cloth on this Niamato armor, and if you notice, without the ballistic liner here, these arms cover the same area as we got with the Cote here. You see the splints on the arm. That protects the arm, but if you notice, there's still a spot in here, maybe a little smaller, that is open. It could have been filled all the way in. So some armor was, this one wasn't, but generally it wasn't. And a lot of times you'd have openings under here, very similar to this. So when you start looking at it, and then under the arm, if I were to put this thick a layer here under the arm, if I was trying to make a full ballistic suit, this is pretty thick. It would be very uncomfortable under your armpit as a band. It couldn't work that way exactly. So they would use less layers of cloth under the arm. So you would have some ballistic protection there, but it wouldn't be anywhere near as effective as this vest. So it wouldn't stop maybe the highest caliber handgun effectively. So that'd be one way to explain that. But if you look, we have the same openings under here, and if you look, we have the same openings under here, because that's just the way the human body moves. So even if this was a European breastplate instead of a doe, we'd still have the same openings. So if you start looking at ancient armor and studying how to defeat it in combat, let's say we're studying Budo, like I study Bujinkan Budo Taijutsu, a lot of times they talk about in class how you would defeat certain armors, how you would get in niches while you're fighting. Well, this type of armor here, if you had it for your class, not only being historical, would also help teach you about modern armor. Same openings, same problems. You can't armor certain areas up over a certain point. We brought this up in very many videos. And there's always going to be some kind of weakness to your armor. If you've got plate, it works really good against stopping impacts. It's good against cuts, but then some plate, depending on how thick it is, sometimes can actually be pierced, but not quite as easily as a cloth armor could be under the right circumstances. So that, yes, when you order something like this, if you, let's say you got your ballistic armor, does not mean it's thrust proof, and it doesn't mean you're going to stop an ice pick or a little stiletto if somebody really puts some body into it. You'd have to buy a vest that's thrust proof or cut proof, but it might not necessarily be bulletproof. You can buy the whole thing, but that's when you start getting bulkier and harder to conceal and so on. So that's why your level 4 vest and level 4A vest, they can stop a large, high-powered rifle round, are much heavier, and you wear those on the outside of your clothing, and they're usually worn in warfare, combat, so on. I mean, same kind of thing with ancient armor. We had our tatami armor. It was a very lightweight armor. You could fold it up, put it in your bag. I mean, that was the whole point of being foldable. And it's easy to carry around. But if you look at something like this is a lot harder to pack up and carry. That's why we have a box that we normally put it in to carry it in when we're carrying armor out. But if you look at it, all the openings, there's always openings in certain areas. They're always going to be there. There are ways to cover these. Armorers will argue. You can cover everything. And just like modernly with ballistic armor, you could have a man dressed up like he was going to disarm a bomb from SWAT. Or you could have a man that's dressed up I guess a lot of people have seen GTA 5 where you're wearing the suits and carrying a big gun and walking around. Well, yeah, they do have suits like that. You can be so ballistic proof, it's ridiculous, but you're also going to be, your mobility is going to be cut back, just like these kind of cut your mobility, because I think they planned these for using them with rifles and stuff, not necessarily. I mean, you could still use I guess for rioting or something, you could use this type of armor, like riot armor. But some things are going to restrict your movement. They're going to weight you down, make it harder to move around. And a lot of times it's a question of what do you need? So even that was the question back in the day. And I think this was well made. The Europeans had done what they needed to do. But if you compare them, they all have the same weaknesses and the same advantages and disadvantages depending on how you're trying to protect yourself. Hope this was informative in the point of explaining why I'm doing the videos to compare one to the other. We are going to come back. These are from Andreas Knoll. They're German surplus. Too bad we don't have the ballistic liners. I dropped one there. These are the legs, but I want to try these with some padding and actually test these out, put a little padding under them and test them against blunt impact stuff. I think they'll do very well. Duracraft aluminum works good in shields in the SCA and some armors. Lots of people use it for armor in the SCA and medieval armor because it's lighter. We want to try these out because we really enjoy these from him. Thanks again, Andreas Knoll. And yes, we will be back with the proper mobility test and testing on the Iron Mountain Armory Japanese armor or the Yamato armor. Hope you all enjoyed the video. I just thought it was kind of cool because I had a vest set here and check it all out and compare it. And yeah, I mean, pretty much everything is the same as it always was. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the video, and farewell.